in many ways, it wasn't necessarily an intentional thing.
Hmm.
It wasn't what I'd set out to do. It was, I was looking to establish a career. But as I always say to my daughters, your career path is up to you.
Hmm.
HR departments aren't there to look after you. They are there to get the best out of you for the business. That's what they do. In many ways, they're the maintenance department that looks after the machines. The machines just happen to be humans. So if you think that, like I say, it wasn't deliberate,
Right.
but it was how I at the time saw my path to where I wanted to get to. At the time, I wanted to be a CFO. That's where I wanted to be when I grew up. And I thought, I'll try and get as much experience as I can under my belt.
Hmm.
Now, I could have got that at going into one business and staying there for years, a business that had, a growth path, at something I would be able to do. I didn't necessarily have that at every place. Plus, you reach a stage where you kind of stop adding value. Now, being an employee is a two-way thing. And companies the only reason why a company ever employs an employee is because the value that employee brings is greater than the cost of employing them. Simple as that. And the lower that cost is for the greater value add, the happier the employer is. That's how life goes. So sometimes I've thought, am I still adding value here? And as we go through, you'll see that I've had people who've come in behind me who've been absolutely fantastic at doing the job, and you bring in the right people. I mean, it's a little bit like private equity. Private equity will very often look for its exit route even before they started. And as someone who's interested in their own career, I'm interested in other people's careers. And I want to make sure there is always a replacement for me. There's always someone who can step into my shoes, in some ways to make life easier for myself, because if that person's coming through and I can pass on the work to them, I can focus and concentrate on other things. Even though you're an employee, if the company feels that a particular strategy would be the best thing to do in the company's interest, but you believe a particular strategy is in the best interest of the pensioners, you've got to act in the best interest of the pensioners. And again, one of the key things that started to come through was I learned that sort of independence of mind is very, very important. Like I say, if you don't understand it, don't do it, no matter how much people are saying you should or you shouldn't do it. And treasurers have to be very, very independent, because they have to really judge things and say, right, is this the right thing or the wrong thing to be doing? And most of all, you really start to understand what ethics mean. And that crops up later in my career. Ethics are incredibly important. Without them, we have absolutely nothing. You can have all the technical skills in the world, you can have all the abilities in the world, but if you don't have the ethics, we don't want you. And that's one of my big messages all the time.